Raise your hand if you say, I'm abundant, and your brain immediately goes, no, you're not, and you won't even look at your bank account. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Guidance with me, your host, Sharon. Today, we're going to talk about the great affirmation lie and why what you are saying is not working and what to do instead. Before we begin, we are going to set your frequency here. Take a deep breath, inhale through your nose, and let it land in your body before you exhale. What you are about to hear is not about trying harder or believing more. It is about coming home to who you already are and letting your words match that. You are not broken. Your affirmations are not broken. You have simply been speaking from the wrong address. Today, we change that. Let's begin. In the last 2 episodes, we talked about the nervous system holding our old identity in place. I talked about the identity guardian angel wrapping her wings around you and holding you safe in what is familiar. And then we talked about Uranus and Gemini and how it is rewiring the collective mind. Now we're going to talk about why some of the tools that people are using are not working. People have been doing affirmations for years, following all the advice and still feeling stuck. It's not a failure of belief. It is a structural problem with how affirmations are being used. The affirmation is only as powerful as the identity it is being spoken from. So, affirming from the wrong identity is like trying to drive to a new destination with your GPS still set on your old address. Let's talk about 3 reasons why affirmations fail. The number one reason is the identity mismatch. You say, I am worthy, but your subconscious is running on, I am not enough for about 23 hours a day. The affirmation is fighting the identity, and the identity always wins. You cannot out affirm a deeply held belief. Reason number 2 is the nervous system override. If your nervous system is dysregulated in fight, flight, or freeze mode, affirmations cannot penetrate it. Your body is in survival mode. It is not in a mode open to receive. This is why when affirmations are said through like clenched teeth or anxiety, or in a state of lack, they do not land. Reason number 3 is a frequency mismatch. Your affirmation is a thought. Your identity is a frequency. Thoughts do not override frequencies. They have to match. Till your frequency shifts to match the affirmation is just words. Your brain, which we can basically call our reality assistant, is the most loyal pattern matching machine you're going to ever own. It is not trying to sabotage you. It is trying to match you to your most consistent signal. And if your most consistent signal is, I am not enough, that is what your brain is going to keep confirming. So, how do we get your identity and your frequency to match so that you can use affirmations in the most powerful way? Okay, this is where we're going to pull in the astrology and how cosmic timing can be in your favor. Your chart actually shows where the identity mismatch is most likely to show up, and therefore where your affirmation work needs to be focused. First, you're going to look at your Saturn placement. This is where our deepest not enough programming lives. This is where your affirmations are most likely to be met with internal resistance. Understanding your Saturn is going to help you locate exactly which affirmations are fighting their hardest battles. So we can use an example of Saturn in Virgo, right? You can't put something out there unless it is absolutely perfect. This is the I am not enough. But how about we reword that Saturn? Instead, you can say, I am someone who puts my best effort in. Okay, so we took the idea of I am not enough and turned it to say, I am doing my best. I am someone who puts in my best effort. Another example we can do is Saturn in Aries, because right now Saturn is in Aries in the sky for the next 2.5 years. And right now we have people around 28 to 31 years old going through their Saturn returns. So Aries, first to run into battle, right? They're always ready. But then you have Saturn here. Saturn is our fears. Saturn is kind of like holding back. While you're saying, I am ready, your body is going, no, you're not. So let's rewrite that affirmation of I am ready to I don't wait until I'm ready. I begin, and readiness meets me there. My courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move anyway. I have always had the right to take up space, to lead boldly, and to act on what I know. The authority was never outside of me. So we're thinking about Saturn, thinking about authority outside of yourself. The authority is never outside of me. I have the courage. I can begin, and readiness will meet me there. So, hopefully, this also helps a lot of you who are going through your Saturn return, or if you naturally have Saturn and Aries in your birth chart. The next placement we're going to look at is the Mercury placement in your chart. Mercury rules the mind, the inner narrative, and your self talk. Super important. The sign and house of your Mercury is going to show you how your mind processes and speaks to itself. So, an affirmation strategy that might work for someone with Mercury in Sagittarius would be more big picture, expansive. And someone who has Mercury in Virgo it's going to be completely wrong for them, right? Virgo is precise, detailed, evidence based. Knowing your Mercury helps you craft affirmations that your mind can actually receive. Okay, let's do two Mercury examples. And I'm going to do one is going to be Mercury in Cancer and the other Mercury in Pisces. Okay, two water sign Mercuries. Mercury in Cancer feels before it speaks. The wound is around my feelings are too much. I shouldn't say what I feel. Mercury in Cancer needs permission to trust its emotional intelligence. So I would write for Mercury in Cancer, my emotional intelligence is not a liability. It is the most precise instrument I own. I feel before I speak, and what I feel is information. I trust what I know in my body before my mind catches up. Now, on the other hand, we have Mercury in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces speaks through its intuition, but often can't quite translate it into words that others can really understand. The wound is around I can't explain it. Nobody understands what I mean. Mercury in Pisces needs permission to trust what it senses is real, even when it can't be proved. So here's what I would write for Mercury in Pisces. I do not need to explain everything I know. My intuition is a language not always translatable into words that others would understand. What I sense is real. What I feel is valid. I trust the knowing that arrives before the words do. As I discussed in the Uranus and Gemini episode, Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury. And right now, the collective mind is being rewired. So old thought patterns are harder to sustain. That means affirmations right now need to align with the new identity that you are stepping into. Cosmic timing right now is in your favor if you are working on upgrading, updating yourself, moving yourself to that elevated self concept. So, since we're embarking on this collective mind rewire, and everyone is working on this more elevated self concept, what is actually working? So, first, you're going to stop affirming from what you want to have to who you are becoming. Instead of saying, I'm a millionaire or I am financially abundant, try saying, I am someone who makes financially aligned decisions every day. Instead of saying, I am confident, try, I am someone who shows up even when it feels uncomfortable. Instead of, I attract love easily, I want you to try, I am someone who is open to giving and receiving love in healthy ways. So we're opening you up to who you are becoming. So it's working with the rewiring of your own mind right now. The identity piece right now is to start where you are and build towards where you are going. The bridge affirmations are going to meet your nervous system where it's at. These affirmations are going to meet your nervous system where it is at, right? I am someone who, and this is better than demanding it leap to a frequency that it does not recognize as familiar, which therefore your body goes, this is not safe. It is super important to always regulate before you affirm. Okay. We talked about this in the last episode. Maybe it's 5 minutes of gratitude, movement, music, anything that's going to settle your nervous system into a state of safety. Okay. So you need to be in a safe state before you can start to affirm, because let's say you affirm from a state of lack, you are going to attract lack. No matter what the words are, your frequency is in the state of lack. Okay. So one of the big things is, and this is a spiritual thing as well, is saying it in your mind is not as powerful as writing and speaking, okay? Studies literally show that handwriting puts things into your memory. If we know much about spell casting, words are spells. What you put out there helps shape reality. So, for a lot of people, written affirmations are going to land more effectively than spoken ones. Just the act of writing creates kind of a different kind of embodiment. It really like puts your body movement into it. So, journal your affirmations and then say them out loud. And then use your birth chart to your advantage. You have a unique birth chart, you have unique aspects in your birth chart. And once you really understand your Saturn placement and where your deepest identity wound lives, you can craft affirmations that are going to specifically address some of these generic ones that just don't work. So here's a bit of homework for you. Step one is going to be identify your most used affirmations. Go ahead, write them down. Are you someone who's like, I am enough? Write it down. Step two is going to be notice your body's response when you say it. Does it feel true? Does it feel like a stretch? Does your body contract or expand? The other little key tidbit I would say is, does it feel true? And if that's a yes, is it true for this situation right now of who you are? But is it also true for who you are becoming? And there is a way to collapse time between the situation, the moment now, and when something works out for you. Okay. And that is something you can really work on with the use of your birth chart, is making things a little bit more immediate with just the use of words. Step 3, I want you to find your Mercury sign. Look up how your Mercury sign processes information. Then I want you to go, is my affirmation written in a language that your Mercury can receive? So I gave you some examples today of Mercury in Cancer and Mercury in Pisces, and a little bit about how Mercury in Sagittarius needs something big and expansive, which is the opposite of what someone with a Mercury in Virgo would need, which is more precise and detail oriented. Step 4 is going to be find your Saturn placement. I want you to find that low expression story that Saturn has been running. This is going to be the areas where you're kind of put into that fear state or you feel almost blocked. Like, I want to go and do these things, but something's holding me back. And then write the identity bridge affirmation. I am someone who, that really speaks directly to this story that your Saturn is telling you in that lower expression. We're not going to bypass it, but you need to meet it and then gently start to redirect it. And of course, step 5 is always regulate first, right? Prep, regulate, write it down, say it. Just really work on believing it. It'll feel more gentle to your body when you're saying, I am someone who, because what you can start to do is start matching that with actions, right? Because that's what trains your brain. All those behaviors. Once you start breaking old patterns by changing up a behavior, you're rewiring your brain. And you can use these affirmations to really kind of like go after so much more in your life when you truly know how to write them. So the affirmations are not the lie. It's just that we're often using them from the wrong identity. And we know that our identity is a frequency. Your birth chart really gives you the map to understand exactly where your deepest identity wounds live, how your mind processes information, and what kind of language your nervous system can actually receive. And that is really the difference between an affirmation that lands and one that just like bounces off into the universe. I really hope it was helpful to write out and give you some examples. you are welcome to drop your Saturn placements and your Mercury placements below because oftentimes, too, it's interesting to look at, does your Saturn and your Mercury play well together? Or do you have to get really good about crafting your affirmation about how your body processes information, working with that identity wound that lives in Saturn in your chart? If you want more help with this, as always, you can book a birth chart reading, you can book cosmic guidance sessions, and you can literally say, "Hey, I want to work on writing affirmations for myself around this." And I can really come in prepared in that session with you with some thoughts around it, some written ones for you, and we can feel into where do you feel like it needs to adjust? Is it landing in your body? Okay. I'm just here to guide you. I will go into more detail as well on my Substack Mindful, Full musings. So go ahead and follow there as well. And I will probably put up a few more examples. Next week, I'm going to talk about Jupiter entering into Leo. I want to get ahead of this conversation because Jupiter in Leo is one of the most significant visibility and confidence transits of 2026. And I want to make sure you are positioned to receive it before it arrives. As always, please like and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube. You can follow my Substack. If you go on to my website, I have a newsletter that I only send out when Mercury changes signs. And honestly, I just love that piece of communication. So please follow along. Go ahead and drop below your Saturn and your Mercury signs.